Awesome. Welcome in, everybody. Wednesday, March 1st. It's around 12:30. It's a beautiful day here in Fairfax. I am joined by our baseball guru and extraordinaire, Sam Jesse, who's been holding it down, doing triple duty today. Had a baseball catch-up and is doing these two interviews with me today. But special guest today, and the first guest of the day, sophomore pitcher from Palmyra, Virginia, Drue Hackenberg, hailing from the Miller School of please forgive me if I pronounce this incorrectly. I think I'm going to get it right. Albemarle High School. Member of the National Honors Society. Smarty Pants. Drue Hackenberg, an All-American last year, has started 2 games thus far, is 2-0, and has only surrendered 1 earned run in 11 2/3 innings. Drue, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time. So we'll kick it off with a few baseball-related questions. This one's more of a sons of siblings question. So 3 brothers, and I'm sure you get this question all the time. Christian Hackenberg, stud quarterback at Penn State. Brandon Hackenberg, stud captain of the PSU soccer team and current Orlando City member. And then Adam, a captain of the Clemson baseball team and drafted in 2021, 22nd overall. What has it been like to come from such an athletic family, and who can throw the ball best in your family?
I mean, just coming from that family, you grew up in that household. You were raised to be competitive. That's just one word that I'd say just punctuates everything about the family. Just very competitive all the time. Unfortunately for me, I was the youngest, so I always got beat up there every day. I was kind of the punching dummy, but at the same time helped me just better myself and become a better athlete personally. And to answer the best thrower, I would say I'm definitely the most accurate. I give the best thrower, hardest thrower to Adam all day, though. His fastball is just, he just throws it very hard. It's just something he's always been good at. So
that's awesome. Let's say you get one of the old, like Nerf wiffle, they're not wiffle balls, but like the Nerf footballs that whistle. Mm-hmm. Who's throwing it the furthest?
That's Christian. He just had that in him. He was the quarterback from day one since he came out. He was going to be that. And you go to the field, he could probably throw that thing the length of the entire field easy. I never personally tested that on myself, so I couldn't tell where I would be or where Adam would be. But I'm going to give that to him all day. That's going to be Christian.
So highly recruited guy coming to Virginia Tech. You step on campus. Preseason hype for Virginia Tech last season wasn't what it was this season, but still expected to be a good team in the ACC. And all of a sudden, you're expected to be one of the starting pitchers and one of the mainstay aces on the team. Were you expecting that coming into college? And how did that help prepare you for this season where, you are the ace of the staff?
Yeah, no, coming in, so to rewind there, coming into the season last year, into the fall, I was actually coming off a little injury from the summer. So I actually didn't throw at all in the fall, like whatsoever. So in terms of me, looking into being the starting guy, that's why it never came up, in anything, just like to be looked at was my name. But I'd say, going into my personal goal was to always be a starter, always be a guy for this team coming in. And I knew that was going to be my role just from talking to the coaches when I was being recruited and whatnot. But I'd say, during the spring, we really started to kick it off. That's when I started to get after it. And it became apparent that I was going to, somehow get into that starting weekend rotation one way or another. Obviously started on Sundays was the first start. And then we worked our way to Saturday, and then Griffin did his thing, whatnot. Taking that into this year, it was huge to have all that experience to play against those guys like Gavin, Biddy, all the guys that got drafted last year. To play against those guys, even in the spring before the season, that helped me tremendously, and to work with them the entire year and play with them only helped me to go do what I did last year and, how it turned out last year, which was pretty good. So
moving into this year, after you go through that year, tremendous success, into the offseason, and now at the beginning of this year, what are the biggest areas of focus this season as a pitching group and individually for either gelling together, improvement? What have been some of the areas of focus for you?
Definitely the leadership part. I mean, again, losing all those guys like Biddy, those older guys, it was tough. I mean, that's a big hit. Just, being able to have those guys that take us out there every game and always know how to lead us, always know how to keep us up in any moment of a ball game. So that was kind of the huge area there, just coming into this team this season. In the pitching side of things, we're actually a lot better than we were last year as an overall group, I would say. I mean, we brought back me and Griffin, which was huge. And we brought in a lot of young guys who are looking really good. And some of our guys from last year are stepping up to the plate finally. So, to have that staff return and to have these new guys come in and not also lose much in the draft was, I mean, it's tremendous for us this year. And I believe that's going to take us and pay huge dividends going into the season and going through the season.
Yeah, the bullpen has looked really good to start this season. I mean, Henry Weicker especially looks virtually unhittable when he's out there. So I want to get into a little bit more in depth on your pitching. Last year, I don't know if you noticed, you had a little over 40% whiff rate on your slider last year, which is pretty good. What's the key to getting guys to actually swing at that pitch? Because a lot of collegiate pitchers, they maybe have that movement on their slider, but guys just don't bite on it.
I mean, it always comes down to placement. I mean, I really grew a tendency of really being able to dot that to back foot to lefties. And really, it really comes down to making it look like your fastball. I mean, I've always been a movement guy with that. So it kind of just correlates there when it's coming in. It looks like, I mean, I talked to guys on the team. They're like, yeah, it looks like a fastball coming in. And the next thing you know, it's going the other way. It's dropping it. It's also like 10 miles per hour slower. So, I mean, that's kind of how it's been, I guess, and it's worked out for me. So, but I would say that's probably the big thing into getting the whiff rate that I had and just, getting those guys swinging at it all the time all last year.
One more follow-up from you on that. So I'm a Mets fan, and I had the Jerry Familia experience for 3 years. And I'm just curious, is there somebody in the league that you watch that pitches similar to that style? Because with the Familia thing, it was, hey, I'm going to walk 3 guys, and I'm going to get it to 0-3, and then I'm going to strike out 3 guys in a row. So I'm curious if you have anybody that you were watching in the bigs that pitches similar to you.
I mean, I never really grew up watching. I mean, I'd watch guys just through training, to see, replicate, motions, movement, everything. One guy I always looked into was Verlander. I mean, you can always look to that guy, future Hall of Famer. I mean, knows what he's doing. Guy worked hard. I mean, that's kind of how I look into guys who, how they work throughout their whole life. I mean, I grew up having Billy as well in high school. So that guy instilled a lot of stuff into me that I wouldn't have gotten anywhere else. So just, understanding the game better, understanding motions, your movement, your delivery, all that. And then I just let the fastball do its thing. I don't try and mimic anybody else too much, but understanding what I need to do with it and how effective it is really came into part with that. So.
Yeah. It's speaking of that fastball, I think it's, at least from a viewing perspective, it's looked really comfortable and really fluid. Like, it doesn't look like you're rearing back and giving it everything you got. It looks like you're honestly out there just throwing, like you said, letting it do its job. You're trying to get a strikeout on a guy. Is it more satisfying as a pitcher to watch him whiff at a crazy slider? Or is it, I just want to blow a fastball by you? Is that which one is more satisfying as a pitcher?
I mean, as a guy that always gets the slider going and gets guys out like that, you got to admit to the fastball. I mean, there's nothing like rearing up and letting the fastball go and then the guy just, completely missing it. I mean, for strike 3 especially, it's just kind of it makes you feel like you're the man out there and you just did something really good. I mean, the sliders feels like you're kind of a baby. It's like you're just doing it. But, I mean, I have to do that a couple times. So, but being able to do that this past weekend was awesome. It's no feeling like it. It's no feeling like it.
When that call comes in 2-2 count and you get that call for high fastball, do you get a little bit stoked on that? Is that I can imagine you getting excited for that, and especially with pitch comm, you kind of hear that coming in. What has the change to pitch comm been like? Because I believe it was Saturday you went to that. You had 10 strikeouts with it.
That was actually that was the first game we ever used it. I mean, we kind of got the news that Friday that came in, and we were I was just hey, screw it. Let's try it out. I want to see how it feels, see what it's like. Wasn't too worried about it. If it didn't work out, we could have went to signs. I was comfortable with it, but I was like, yeah, if this is going to make it quicker, if this is going to keep pace going, I mean, I definitely want to try it out. And to have that and to be able to use that, I mean, that was huge, and keeping my pace of play and also just keeping my momentum throughout that whole game. So I'd say that's a huge tool that we added into the to the rotation for the weekends.
Does it take some of the mental stress off of the pitching, and I guess for your catcher as well, of getting the signs in, understanding the signs, getting all that, there's a lot of mental work that goes in before every pitch. That seems like PitchCom has kind of made it so you can focus more on mechanics and the hitter in front of you.
Yeah, no, it 100% takes away all the extra stuff that could potentially cause a problem, like getting crossed up and whatnot with the catcher. I mean, huge for Garrick as well. I mean, Garrick loved it. It was easy for him. It was easy for both of us. So I'd definitely say that, I mean, it's a big tool, made us more comfortable and allows us to focus on other things outside of just trying to understand what signs, what fingers he's throwing down. So little stuff like that.
And this isn't as much a question, but Tech's averaging over 10 runs per game. That's got to feel pretty good as a pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we had that going in the last year a little bit after we got into our groove. I mean, just having that offensive firepower behind you going into every game, like, they're going to score runs. I just got to do my job, keep less than 2 on the board, and I know I'm probably going to get the win for it. So it's always ease off the mind there. Sometimes it doesn't work out, and then that's when you got to step it up. But obviously we don't. I mean, we're going to be pretty confident in them at all times this year.
Does that change how you pitch? Do you think you can be a little bit more aggressive as a pitcher when like, my guys can get me 7-8 runs?
Yeah, it allows me to just do my thing. I mean, again, having the fastball I have, the sinker ball, I mean, usually it works out anyways, just getting it in the zone somewhere. A guy's going to roll over. I'm going to have CD, David behind me, making an easy play. I've always just been able to do that, but that especially does help with me being able to just pound the zone. Probably go fastball the rest of the game if we're up by like 10. So it just makes it easy. Makes it easy on my arm too. So
moving on to a couple of rapid fire questions, moving away from the sports aspect of things. If you could get dinner with 4 people, dead or alive, who would they be and where are you going to eat?
Ooh. That's tough. I mean, obviously somewhere with a nice steak or something like that. So I'll just say Outback, because I don't know many places there, or the Farmhouse here in Christiansburg somewhere. I mean, that was good when I went there. But the 4 people, ooh. I'm going to go baseball here. I'm going to go Greg Maddux, because that guy I can mimic as well. That's another guy I mimic, so I learned from him a little bit.
Met killer.
Yeah. We had Chipper, but I would definitely say Barry Bonds to get into the head of a good hitter, to understand what his mindset's like. The 2 celebrities here. We'll go Ryan Reynolds and Tom Cruise.
Wow.
Ryan Reynolds and Tom Cruise there.
Okay. No, you spend a lot of time down in Charlottesville, and I want to preface this question with this. Charlottesville's a fantastic town. Like, awesome I don't get the chirping of Charlottesville. I have an amazing time every time I go to Charlottesville. So the question originally was say something nice about Charlottesville, but what was your favorite thing to do in that area? Whether it was a place to eat, place to go, what's your favorite thing to do down there?
Oh, shoot. I mean, we don't have it here, but Raising Cane's. That was an automatic spot to go to on a weekday at least once or twice in the whole entire week for me, especially with my brothers. I mean, other than that, you can go see a movie, you can go bowling. There's a lot of stuff you can do there. Usually when I'm in there, though, I was either in there for baseball or I was in there for Cane's. It was one of the two. So, I mean, I'd have to go easy, just going to Cane's and chilling out with your friends, getting a good meal in, and then probably afterwards going home playing video games or something.
Favorite on the diamond memory as a Hokie and off the diamond memory as a Hokie so far? I know it's not been that long, but give me what you got so far.
I was lucky with last year, though, because I had a couple. I definitely just have to say Fenway. I mean, going and pitching at Fenway last year, that's a baseball player's dream come true. I mean, oldest park. As soon as you walked on that mound, you're like you felt everything about it, everything about the atmosphere of it just hit you. It was amazing. And I would say off the diamond, I'd have to say after the Miami game, That was another good one too. After the Miami game, just going around and seeing everybody supporting, and then just everybody throwing the U down, like in Main Street area, whatnot. Just having fun. It was kind of fun being able to go out there with some of the boys and just relax a little bit. But I'd say that's my favorite off the field there memory here.
No, it's been. I got to tell you, as being someone who's I was at Tech before they did the renovations to the baseball stadium, and the reception that not only has followed women's basketball and softball, but to see the stadium packed out and everything like that. I mean, I've always admired and grew up. Wasn't a huge college baseball follower, but my dad went to Ole Miss, and I would always tune in and see the environment that Ole Miss had. And I was like, damn, it'd be damn cool if we could get it growing like that in Blacksburg. It's been cool to see us kind of adopt that baseball culture. It's been fantastic. Pre-game ritual, pre-game superstition, whether it be you or someone on your team who does something funky before a game.
Can you repeat that? Sorry. No.
Sorry. Do you have any pre-game rituals or superstitions, or do any of your teammates have any odd superstitions or rituals before games?
I personally don't have many. I mean, usually I'm in the locker room bumping some ATL rap of some sort, just bumping, getting into the vibe of it. But, I mean, little stuff, just like lucky socks. I mean, we have a couple guys who are like lucky socks. They'll have their specific shoes. I mean, just sort of stuff like that. I mean, we got the guys with the custom stuff. Jonah's got his custom cleats. So he just got them this year. So, I mean, he's always about being swaggy out there. But nothing too much. There's nothing like crazy in our locker room, I don't think so.
Favorite place to eat in Blacksburg? And yes, we are this is a pro get Canes in Blacksburg, so we're doing everything we can on our end. But from what we got, what is your favorite?
Favorite place? I'm just gonna go with Cabo. I mean, you can't miss with Cabo. Great tacos, great quesadillas. They got everything you want there. So, I mean, just go with that easy little Cabo answer there.
Billy Ray, we need to start keeping stats on the favorite places to eat in Blacksburg.
We do absolutely need to keep a stat on that. We got to get a running total on there. I think it's the first time we've heard anything about Outback though, which I think is criminally underrated. I'm a big Outback guy. Moving on to letters from the lunch pail, some questions written in by listeners. Sam, you got the first.
Yeah, so Vincent Osborne asked, and this is a really good question. Small sample size so far, only a couple starts, but higher K rate this year. Anything special that you worked on to miss more bats or to get more strikeouts as a pitcher?
We did try and add a 4-seam in, so just a little different from the 2-seamer. Stay straight. I mean, I'm not going to say it's an exceptional pitch, but it is completely different from my normal fastball that you may see. We definitely wanted to add that in there a little more just to get a different look, and it's worked out last year. It came in a little bit last year, but we really worked on that over the season, and then we want to get that changeup going too, which is another thing we worked on. But really that 4-seam was the big key with the strikeouts.
Sam, you'll remember this, but one of my favorite stories and conversations that we've had on this podcast was with Ian Seymour, who completely transformed his game. I believe hold me accountable here, Sam. He switched from a 4-seam to a 2-seam over a summer. And
I believe so.
Yeah, and completely changed the trajectory of his career, which is different than any other sport. You don't hear of a quarterback changing the way he throws a ball or anything like that. It's interesting to see how he can make those changes. The other one that we have came from Gavin Cross, and he said, can you ask Hack if he misses pitching to me at all, or if he doesn't miss pitching to me?
He's scummy for that. I would say yeah, I miss pitching to him because he was great to learn from. Because coming into the fall or into spring when I faced him, he went 5 for 5 off me. Every ball was easily hit over 105. He just demolished everything I threw at him. I'd say yes and no to that, but no in terms of if we were playing in a real game, because he is an exceptional hitter, and it's actually just insane how good of a hitter he is when he gets into the box. His mindset, just a good player, just a really good player. Let's keep it simple.
Last one that I have for you, and I see the poster behind you, the Building in Blacksburg poster. And my question really is for any youngster that's considering Virginia Tech, what has the experience been like for you so far? What are you guys building, and how special is the culture in Blacksburg right now?
I mean, Everything about it is special. I mean, you go to the coaching staff, you start with those guys. I mean, that's who we want to come. That's what all of us wanted to come here and play for, was really Coach Jeff. I mean, we come into the building, we know what guy we're working with, we know what he's going to do, what he's going to provide for us, and just the type of guy he is. I mean, he's not like most coaches where you can hear around the college baseball world where some guys may be like their mindsets are crazy. Chef's a laid back guy, but he can jump on you when he needs to, or when he does need to. But for the most part, he lets us do our thing, and he brings the right guys in. I mean, it's simple as that. You got to have a mindset where you're going to come to work every day and get 1% better. I mean, that's what he expects. That's what we all expect. So I'd say that's a huge thing, you know, over these past few years. What he's really been trying to build here was getting that culture in together. That's the main thing there. And then, you know, for kids coming in here, I mean, you just got to learn what to expect here. I mean, you're going to come in here. You're not going to be babied. You're going to come in here, you're going to get your work done, and you're expected to get your work done on and off the field too. He's huge off the field with school. That's why we had like the highest GPA we had. So he's just, you know, he's a good dude, knows what to do, knows how to handle his athletes is really the big thing with that. So
Drue, you're a gentleman and a scholar. Best of luck the rest of the season. We're looking forward to it, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Drue.
All right, everybody. Again, Wednesday, March 1st, it's around 1 o'clock. Just wrapped up with Drue. And we are joined now by sophomore infielder from Virginia Beach, Virginia, Carson DeMartini, who is batting .379 so far with 14 RBIs in 8 games. Pretty damn good, Carson. Welcome to the show. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're excited about it. So I'll let Sam kick it off with we've got about 3 segments for you, and we'll start off with the baseball end of things.
Yeah, man, it's been a great start to the season so far, especially for the offense, averaging over 10 runs per game. You lost a lot of MLB caliber production last year. Schobel, Cross, Biddy, Cade Hunter. How have you guys kept up that offensive energy? And, was there a little bit of pressure heading into this season to keep up with that historic offense?
Yeah. I mean, those guys obviously were great players and key factors in our lineup, but I attribute it to the new guys that have come in, our transfers mostly. Chris Cannizzaro in the 2-hole here, batting in front of me, is just absolutely putting on a show. He hit for the cycle last weekend. I mean, I think he's got 3, maybe 4 homers. David Bryant, Eddie Eisert, those guys kind of coming in and being able to fill in some spots. And then with Jack Hurley, obviously being one of the best hitters in college baseball, it's hard to beat that. And you got Carson Jones that comes in. And then now Christian Martin's making an impact in the lineup. My roommate, actually. I mean, those guys coming in is really helping. There wasn't ever really like, man, we lost these guys, we're trying to replace them. It's more so kind of building our own identity as a lineup this year, not trying to replace what we lost.
Yeah, no, you spoke of Chris Cannizzaro. He hit for the cycle with 2 home runs. So cycle and then an extra home run. He's also hitting .470 on the year, which is pretty darn good.
Oh, yeah.
You come into this offseason, and this was really the first offseason that I can remember that Virginia Tech baseball had serious national, hype going into this season. Was that, first off, was that something you expected when you signed with Virginia Tech right off the bat in year 2? And then also, what was that like as we'll talk about playing in Cape Cod, but what was it like kind of being around guys from other schools? Oh man, Tech, those guys can hit, those guys have a good program.
Yeah. I don't know if I necessarily thought we'd be at this level that we're at right now when I signed to come here, but I for sure thought we're gonna have something going. Coach Jeff has won everywhere he's gone, and then I think every school he's been to, within at least maybe 5 or 6 years, he's brought that team to the playoffs and one of the better teams in their conference, wherever he's been. So I mean, I was kind of expecting to be good, but maybe not this good. And then, I mean, with the whole preseason hype, being on the team, it's not so much it for me. I think it's a little bit easier now because all we have to do is go out and play. There's there's nothing dragging on us. Man, if we don't win, we're going to have a bad year again, and we're going to do this. And that's not really happening this year. It's just kind of like we're just being able to go out and play, and then the ranking just kind of a number and just kind of floats around.
So speaking of Cape Cod, I lived in Newport, Rhode Island this past summer. First of all, beautiful, beautiful area of the country. Had an amazing time. So you, just a little ways up north, you played for the Brewster Whitecaps this summer in Cape Cod. Can you tell me a little bit about what that experience was like? And not to harp on it, we said on the last episode for Drue was talking about a couple changes that he made over the summertime. I talked to Ian Seymour, I think it was 2 years ago, about just a change that he made coincidentally in the Cape Cod League, again, adding a different pitch and completely changing the trajectory of his career. Tell me a little bit about that experience and what it meant for you and how it impacted your game.
Yeah. I mean, the Cape, like you said, is beautiful. It's very similar to kind of where I'm from, Virginia Beach. It's just kind of a little older atmosphere, but the Cape as a hitter is a little different than as a pitcher because you're out there playing every day, and you're kind of having to grind through it. It's for sure a pitcher's league. So there are ups and downs you go through, and more often than not, they're downs in the Cape. So I think the Cape is really more to teach you kind of how to handle failure and how to be able to kind of stay on your process and not worry about your batting average, not worry about how many hits you're getting, not worry about any of that. It's more about kind of staying on your process and being able to grind every single day, day in and day out. And that's kind of what it taught me.
Yeah, I actually watched you play a game up there this summer. You played the Orlean, I think it's Orlean Firebirds.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They play at historic Eldridge Park, which is the most ridiculous looking baseball stadium you've ever seen. It's literally just at a middle school. If you ever have the opportunity to go to Cape Cod over the summer, you got to go Cape Cod League. It's like pure baseball Americana. But Eldridge Park, 434 feet to center field and 315 to the poles.
Yep.
Did you ever see anybody hit a center field home run there?
I did not, but I heard some stories about some guys that used to play there back in the day. You know, like Aaron Judge played in the Cape. Kyle Schwarber played in the Cape. These big power guys in the MLB now. I've heard stories of them going bridge out to center field, but I mean, I was taking BP out there and I was smoking balls in the center, and they were probably, and we're using wood bats too. So, and we're using softer balls. So, I mean, I'm probably hitting them halfway out into the outfield, and I'm like, man, I'm smoking balls today, and they're going nowhere. And not to mention the grass is probably 4 or 5 inches high, so it hits the grass and just stops. So it makes it look even worse. But very, very interesting field, but great place to play.
Yeah, it's a really awesome just vibe up there. Again, if you ever have the opportunity, you got to go up there, put up a lawn chair, get a hot dog. It's awesome. While you were up there, you played shortstop some, and at Tech here, you're at third base, and you can maybe like one position more than the other, but how does being able to play both positions kind of help your game and help your range, especially on that left side of the infield?
Being able to play shortstop and then actually playing third base, I think, is what you said about being able to range is one of the bigger things. Normally, your typical third baseman or your kind of beefier, kind of stockier guys that don't move very well, and your shortstop's a long, lengthy guy that can go get balls. Where I feel like I can now range out a little bit further and help our shortstop David Bryant, who's doing an excellent job right now for us. I can help him where he doesn't have to feel like he has to range so far in a 6-hole. Maybe he can play a little bit more up the middle. It kind of helps the whole infield play. And then actually playing shortstop, because I played short inter squads and in the Cape, like you said, it helps because at shortstop you kind of control the field, and you gotta lead cuts, and you gotta talk about this and that, and you're talking with the pitcher. You're controlling the field. So it just helps you from a mental side of the game where like you're actually like kind of not coaching the game, but like you're mentally going through it.
Switching things up a bit here. The Hammer. big off-season storyline, big storyline now. Free the Hammer, of course.
That's right.
Look, it's everyone around college baseball loves it. The rules have been what they are. You guys have been I use the old Virginia Tech motto, which is the true Virginia Tech motto, invent the future. You've had to get a little creative with it, but why Why is it so important to you guys? And like, what does it do for the morale of the fellas there when somebody makes a big play?
It's just, I mean, it's turned into probably a little bit bigger than it should. It was kind of just like a simple little nab I had at the NCAA there for a sec, and it's kind of turned into this whole thing. We got our merch out and everything now. You go get shirts and posters, but it's more so like it's just something like when we first started doing the hammer. That's what people came out to see. Like people were in the stands and like Gavin Cross, his freshman year, hit a home run. Everybody wanted to see him slam the hammer. Like that was like a huge thing. And as long as we can kind of keep that going, I think whatever kind of publicity it gets is the right publicity just to kind of keep it going and everybody comes out for it.
I always tell people, and this is on the subject of Virginia Tech baseball in general, and we've had some awesome players come through Virginia Tech over the time there. But I want to harp on how special it is to be a part of building something rather than jumping on a train that's already moving at full speed. What has it been like to watch the rise of the program? And you even mentioned it, like you guys are ahead of schedule. Whether it's your schedule, whether it's our schedule, like it's been unbelievable to watch what's going on. What has it been like to watch the rise of this program, and what are kind of the goals, and what do you guys have as like a North Star to measure success?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell you in high school, watching the guys, and even that COVID shortened year, I mean, we were legit. And it's just like sitting there in high school, I'm like, man, I just want to get to campus. I just want to go play. I just want to graduate already. You're kind of seeing yourself in the future before you actually get there. That's something really special. Not many people can do that and actually have a chance to like be a part of something and kind of create it or at least help create it. I mean, it's really neat that we're kind of like just moving along. And then honestly, in the future, man, it's just kind of staying steady. Coach Jeff talks about it all the time. It's just kind of coming out day in and day out and just kind of doing your thing and stuff will take care of yourself. Obviously, you know, the big goal is Omaha in the College World Series. And we're not scared of saying that. We almost made it last year and this year we're going to try and make another run at it. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's the goal is to get there. That's what everybody wants to do. So it's more so just kind of just steadily just going on. And after I leave here, hopefully the guys can kind of the freshmen that are here right now and that come in next year can kind of carry on that culture and brotherhood that we have and just kind of keep this program building to one of the top in the country.
Yeah, and last year was by far the best season of Virginia Tech baseball in its history. Ended in a tough way to a team that was incredibly hot at the end of the year and really talented in Oklahoma. Oh, yeah. But do you think the experience of just like winning that regional and then playing in a high stakes super regional against, like, let's face it, any team you play in a super regional is going to come in, they're going to be really hot and they're going to be really talented and on a roll. Does that experience, like, okay, we faced a team that was playing like that and hitting every ball and their pitchers were on. Now, next time we see that, maybe it's not Oklahoma, but maybe it's, you know, someone else. We've played against a team that's having the same momentum that we're having.
Yeah, experience is everything. Being able to take a step back outside yourself when you're playing in a big moment. Not even the super regional. Like we're gonna play Virginia here soon. Looking in the future, we're going down to Miami, going down to Florida State. I mean, these are as good as you're going to get games. I mean, any team in the ACC has a shot at going to Omaha and is good enough to do it. It's just kind of about what you said, who's hot. So, I mean, every weekend it's kind of just you're building more experience. Exactly what I gained from the regional, super regional, playing in front of a bunch of fans and facing the best guys in the country.
Talking to folks like you when you were in Virginia Beach and you were watching during the COVID stoppage, I asked Coach Marv this, and I think it's such an important question for people that are considering playing for Virginia Tech baseball. If someone were to tune in as a fan, as a recruit, as anything, and may not know your team, maybe watching for the first time, what do you want the culture of this team? What do you want that person to step away from and say, wow, Virginia Tech is a really blank baseball team?
Yeah, I mean, hard nosed, I probably would say is the right word. We always talk about like playing the game the right way, and playing hard. And I feel like if you come out and watch us, like there's a lot of little things that kind of sneak in throughout the game that maybe the average eye might not see, but baseball guys see it, and it's really impressive. I mean, the way that like Jack Hurley will hit a ground ball through the 4-hole, and the right fielder's like slowly getting to it, and boom, he takes second. Just like small stuff like that is just, it's second to none. And that's exactly what we want this program to be, for sure. Yeah.
I'll never forget. That's it's interesting you say that, because when I went down the first time that I saw Coach Chef coach, I think it was 2019, and I went down for the UVA series. And the one thing that stood out was playing small ball and taking advantage of every single thing that the other team gives you. So that's something that you guys are preaching and working on every single day.
Oh yeah, I mean, like you see it in our practices. I'm pretty sure our practices are open, so like people can come out and watch them. But man, it doesn't matter if there's nobody in the stands. Like we're getting after it during practice. Like we're hooting and hollering across the field during BPs, live BPs. Guys are taking tight turns around the bases and diving into second base, making sliding catches in the outfield. Like it's just kind of the way we go about our business. Even like in our lifts too, like we're pumping music, and obviously everybody loves to lift because everybody wants to get big and look good. But I mean, just like everything we go, like how we go about our business, man, it's just like, it's really hard nosed. It's really gritty.
Moving on to our rapid fire segment, some baseball, some non-baseball. The first one, favorite one to ask, and everybody knows is coming. If you could have dinner with 4 people, dead or alive, who are those 4 people, and where are you going to eat?
All right. So I would say first person I would have to bring to that dinner would be Matthew McConaughey.
Okay. You guys kind of look alike. I don't mean to pump up your ego, but you guys kind of look alike.
I love the way the dude talks. I feel like he's super smart, super entertaining. I feel like that dude can carry a conversation. Man, I would love to sit down with Snoop Dogg and just kind of hear like what's going through his mind, if anything.
Yeah.
And just kind of see what he's got. And then, I mean, like George Washington, like our first ever president. I mean, the dude built our country. Like, I feel like that's a pretty unique conversation. Not many people get to have. And then, man, who else would I bring, dead or alive? We'll go with the sports guy. I would really, really like to. I'd probably say David Wright.
David Wright, love David Wright.
Yeah, David Wright. He, my dad and my high school coach, kind of coached him for a little bit growing up in Virginia Beach, and he's been like one of my favorite players ever. And I just, anytime I can get down and sit and talk with him, that'd be it's really cool. I just watched him play third base growing up, and kind of now I'm moving into third base, and it's really cool.
David Wright doesn't seem like something we're going to have to – I have a little bit of a connection there. So David Wright's a huge Virginia Tech fan. In his Mets locker, he used to have a Virginia Tech football helmet.
Yeah. Yeah, his brothers. Yeah.
We got to find a way to get him to a game. We'll see if we can't make that happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Sons of Spotify. What is Carson DeMartini listening to in his headphones?
Well, so you look me up on Spotify if you want. I probably have 30 playlists. I love house music. House music is like, it's my favorite. What I'm listening to right now here, the most recent song, and it's all over TikTok. It's what's it called?
You're also gonna have to drop or send me the Spotify thing, because we're gonna
get it. Yeah, it's Food for the Soul by It's Murph right now. It's all over my TikTok, and man, I love house music. You ask all the guys on the team, like we walk in the locker room or in the weight room or anything, and there's like house EDM music playing. They're like, all right, CD's got the aux, like nobody else is playing this.
So I won't let you pick David Wright. I don't know if it'd be your answer, but who is your favorite third baseman ever?
Yeah, David Wright, for sure.
Who's number 2 then? I wasn't letting you double up there.
Yeah, I love watching Nolan Arenado play. I mean, he's gonna be a Hall of Famer, but he's not done playing yet, obviously. But man, he's so cool to watch play. I mean, he's just so so nonchalant about everything he does, and he's so good at it. You watch him play defense, and man, picks he makes just incredible plays. He makes them look so easy, sliding and diving, and plus the cannon to like add to his glove is unreal.
As a Guardians fan myself, watching Jose Ramirez play third, where he doesn't look like a third baseman. He's like a shorter, stockier guy, a little more quick twitch. You kind of remind me defensively of that, where you play the game at the speed that you usually see a shortstop or second baseman play, but you're over there at third. So I just think that it's like kind of a unique defensive style for third base, and it creates some cool highlight plays. So that's a guy defensively kind of remind me of that more quick twitch defender.
Yeah, thank you.
Meeting Chipper Jones, again, Mets fan, murdered the Mets my entire childhood. Baseball night in Blacksburg is amazing. I mean, I don't know how it did this year, but in the past, some of the names that would come through, I remember Tim Kirchin was in Blacksburg. It's an amazing, amazing event. So what was it like just to see the reception with the fans, meet Chipper Jones? Tell us a little bit about that night.
Yeah. I mean, not many people can say they've shook a Hall of Famer's hand and talked to him eye to eye. I mean, I didn't realize until Evan Hughes started going over his stats, like just absolutely how dominant he was. Obviously, my dad will remind me every day that Chipper Jones destroyed the Mets and absolutely owned them. But I mean, he's like quite possibly statistically maybe one of the greatest third basemen, the best switch hitter of all time, though. But I mean, it's really neat to see kind of the formulation of events like that. We had the last one last year with Jeff Passan came in, baseball writer. We did that at the end, and there was a good amount of people there. But man, this year it was packed, and it was a bunch of donors came out, and local businesses, and it's really neat to kind of see that formulation.
Favorite memory on and off the diamond so far in Blacksburg?
Ooh. Favorite memory on would probably be, I don't know, stealing home against NC State was really cool. I stole home like once or twice in my career. It was really neat, especially because it was in the snow. Like you don't play many games in the snow. But I mean, obviously, winning the ACC championship when we beat Duke. And kind of sealing, I think that was our 40th win of the season in the regular season. I mean, that doesn't happen very often. I mean, that was so cool. And then favorite memory off the field, like
non-baseball related, something, whether it's something you do in Blacksburg, a different sporting event.
I'd probably say me and my best friends, my senior year of high school, went to Costa Rica for a week and went out and surfed all week. It was awesome. We got a big old house out there, and three dads came with us. And we woke up in the morning, went out and surfed, came back, ate, went out and surfed later, and then went out and surfed like in the evening. And then like it was really, really cool. Something I'll remember forever for sure.
So did you surf a lot in Virginia Beach? So when I was living in California, yes, my fat ass was on a surfboard. It was my first time. And I don't think there's a better feeling in the world than the first time you stand up on a surfboard. So is that your first time, or you've been doing that for a while?
Yeah, no, I've been surfing my whole life. Now I'm not Kelly Slater, professional surfer. Like I'm not going to go rip up pipeline or anything like that. I'm out there kind of just to have fun. But yeah, me and my buddy's been surfing my whole life. Living at the beach, like it's just something you go do in the summer. And when you get waves, because in Virginia Beach, man, there's not many waves that come around. When we do, like we go out there and we're out there for a while.
What's the best surf spot in Virginia Beach?
The Outer Banks.
Yeah, that's a good answer. That's the right answer. Outer Banks.
Yeah, I'd probably say, I don't know. There's a little sandbar now that's kind of formulating out in 71st Street that people have been going out to lately. But yeah, when it gets good, me and my buddies, the same guys I went to Costa Rica with, we'll drive down the Outer Banks. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and go surf down there.
I don't know how that's going to land, Carson. I've been a little rough on Virginia Beach a little bit, and you dropping the Outer Banks is the best place to surf, and might get some chirps from that.
Well, at least you're a true like Virginia Beach person. You can say like, "Oh, I'm from Virginia Beach," and you're 45 minutes from any water whatsoever down there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's awesome. We get a true Virginia Beacher on the team. Who's the funniest teammate?
Oh, the funniest teammate. Man, I'd probably say Jack Hurley. I mean, the stuff that goes on in his head, it just, man, he'll tell you, and I wouldn't say this if like he wouldn't say the same thing, but man, he's so quirky. He makes up all these, like, he's got a little second persona that comes out every once in a while. I mean, the guy is just so unpredictable in things he's gonna say. Anytime you need to laugh or you need to make fun of a situation, Jack's the go-to guy.
Any pregame rituals, superstitions, weird things that your teammates do? Any of that going on in the locker room?
Man, growing up, I was the biggest superstition guy. Like, driving to the field, like, I would have to look at the same stop signs, and I would have to look at like I would have to make the same turn, and I would literally try and do the exact same thing. I've kind of grown out of that, because if I didn't do it correctly, I'd go to the field and I'm like, man, I'm not getting a hit today. I don't know if that's the best way to go about it. But I mean, honestly, everybody's really laid back in the locker room, man. Before a game, we got music going. Guys are just kind of hanging out, and just like, I'm sitting in my locker and just everybody's getting ready to go play. Nobody really does anything crazy. I got a little book I read before I go play, but other than that, like, that's pretty much it.
We have one letter from the lunch pail right in. And at first I kind of wanted to poke fun at Pat here. But his question is, can you please explain to me what a hum babe is?
So, yeah, hum babe. I say that. I probably say it 150 times during a game.
It's probably more than that.
Yeah, probably more than that. And it just kind of rolls off the tongue, and it's something I've been saying for my entire life. It's just kind of like here we go, something like that. Just like talking to somebody, like, hey Sam, hum babe, like something like that, like get them going. It's honestly like a filler word. It's like using like or sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I gotta shout out my guy Joey Sullivan. I don't know if you knew him, but anytime you went to any Virginia Tech baseball game, if he wasn't playing, he was being audibly heard. It was a hum babe about 250 times every single game. So no, love the baseball coach that you guys are building. Absolutely fired up for this year. It's been a ton of fun watching the success on both diamonds, basketball. This is kind of an impromptu one. What I really enjoyed, I listened to your interview on Tech Sideline, and you mentioned how important it was to you when you came to Virginia Tech that Whit was a baseball guy. Our athletic director is a baseball guy. So I kind of wanted to double down on that. Like, what have you seen from Virginia Tech in making baseball a priority or putting baseball in the best position to be successful?
Yeah, I mean, you just look at our facilities, man. I mean, we have one of the nicest overall facilities in the country, and we really don't bring in that much money in comparison to some of the other schools who have these grand facilities. And I mean, that just speaks to how much he really cares about our program, and how much Chef is able to go out and advocate for us. Just like be that guy that's always trying to push something across the table for us, like the pitching lab getting done out in left field. And even like we got, like, I think the other day we had like 5 or 6 new sponsors up on the wall. Just like small stuff like that, man. It's just the more we can get, the easier it is, or the easier it makes our life. I don't really have to worry about like getting something to eat in between lift and practice, because we have a nutrition like bar like in our own facility. Like, not many people have that opportunity. Or like, I don't have to worry about going to the library and finding parking on campus, because we have a team room with computers and chairs in our facility. Like small stuff like that, I mean, is a big game changer. Just makes our life so much easier.
Carson, this has been a ton of fun. Best of luck the rest of the season. Would love to chop it up again and keep up the awesome work and keep swinging that hammer, man. We're excited for you.
For sure. Thanks for having me on.